Good evening, you're watching AWANI Tonight with me, Farhana Sheikh. Bank Negara Malaysia has maintained the overnight policy rate OPR at 3%, citing outlook for sustained economic growth and manageable inflation. It has kept the OPR unchanged for 11 consecutive meetings since May 2023.
The central bank said latest indicators point to continued global growth, supported by resilient domestic demand and global trade. For 2025, it said the global economy would be sustained by positive labour market conditions, moderating inflation, and less restrictive monetary policy. Disinflation in advanced economies was expected to continue, facilitated by moderating commodity prices and fading effects of past monetary policy tightening. Malaysia's economy grew 5.1% in 2024, driven by domestic demand and export rebounds.
Starting April 1st, the government will introduce special passes for investors and expatriates, allowing easier, faster entry for business and investment purposes. Home Minister Datuk Seri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail says the electronic pass system will streamline applications and boost Malaysia's appeal as a business hub.
The Home Ministry is also tackling existing backlogs with a commitment to resolving 11,700 pending applications for entry passes and permits by June. According to the minister, 80% of these applications come from foreign spouses of Malaysian citizens. As part of a digitalisation drive, pass stickers will be replaced with an online system, saving the government 13 million ringgit annually. Employers can also renew temporary work visit passes online, reducing congestion at service counters by 70%. These measures align with Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim's vision for modernised public services.
In other news, UMNO has denied any links to the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC investigation into former Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob. Ismail Sabri was due to give his statement to the agency tomorrow, but it has been postponed to next week for health reasons. Party Secretary General Datuk Dr. Ashraf Wajdi Dusuki warns that the party will not hesitate to take legal action against those alleging its involvement in the case.
In a statement, he said the party believed the MACC should be allowed to conduct its investigation in a transparent and independent manner without interference. Last week, the MACC confirmed it was probing Ismail Sabri as a suspect over allegations of corruption and money laundering. As part of the probe, the anti-graft agency has seized around 170 million ringgit in cash, along with 16 kilograms of gold bars from several locations, including a safe house.
The government will carry out a nationwide roadshow this year to gather public feedback on the drafting of the political funding bill. Law and Institutional Reform Minister Datuk Seri Azalina Othman Said says this will involve a town hall session, allowing individuals and organisations to voice their concerns about the proposed law.
According to Azalina, the roadshow is expected to begin later this year, while the bill could be tabled in Parliament within the next 2 years. She added that all proposals from her ministry's Legal Affairs Division and an all-party parliamentary group would be further reviewed. The bill seeks to regulate funding for political parties, including donations for parties, individual politicians, and election campaigns. Under the proposed legislation, foreign funding would also be prohibited.
We'll go for a quick break. Don't go anywhere.
Kerap menggaruk kulit kepala disebabkan keluh mumur, masalahnya lebih mendalam. Gunalah Head & Shoulders menembusi 5 lapisan untuk membasmi keluh mumur dan kegatalan. Bebas keluh mumur sehingga 100%. Head & Shoulders diuji secara dermatologi.
Ini mungkinlah cabaran paling sukar. Ia penuh sengsara, pengorbanan, dan semangat yang tak pernah mengalah. Di sini, juara ditempa dan legenda dicipta. All England Open Badminton Championships secara langsung di Astro Badminton dan Astro Go.
Daulat tuanku.
Penyasaran subsidi diesel di Semenanjung tidak akan memberi kesan kepada harga barangan keperluan di Sabah, Sarawak dan Labuan.
660 individu berusia bawah 21 tahun di Sarawak telah diberikan kewarganegaraan.
Sarawak kini menjalinkan kerjasama dengan Bank Dunia dalam menjayakan perdagangan karbonnya.
Welcome back. 15 people in South Korea were injured after a pair of fighter jets accidentally dropped 8 bombs on a civilian district during a live-fire military exercise. The incident involving the Air Force KF-16 aircraft occurred at around 10 a.m. local time in the city of Pocheon.
According to the fire agency, 2 of the injured sustained serious wounds. Pocheon is located about 40 kilometers northeast of capital Seoul, near the heavily militarized border with North Korea. South Korea's Air Force said bombs from one of the jets had fallen outside the shooting range after a pilot mistakenly entered incorrect coordinates. Investigators have yet to determine why the second jet also dropped its bombs. The military apologized for the damage, promising compensation for those affected and announcing that all live fire exercises would be suspended. However, the incident is not expected to affect the joint drill by South Korea and the US on March 10th, the first since US President Donald Trump's return to the White House.
Hamas claims that US President Donald Trump's repeated threats against Palestinians encourage Israel to abandon the Gaza ceasefire and escalate the siege on Gaza. This is in reference to Trump's strong warning to Hamas on Wednesday, demanding the immediate release of all remaining hostages. In a text to Reuters, Hamas spokesperson Abdulatif Al-Qanwa said the best way to secure the release of remaining Israeli prisoners is for the ceasefire to enter the second phase, honoring the agreement made. The first stage of the deal ended last week, but Israel refused to proceed to a permanent ceasefire and full captive release, instead seeking a ceasefire extension while threatening to block humanitarian aid to Gaza. Meanwhile, Trump had met with a group of freed hostages at the White House on Wednesday before issuing the warning to Hamas. The president's comment came hours after the White House confirmed that Washington is engaging in talks with Hamas. Meanwhile, the Trump administration has announced a one-month exemption for car makers from tariffs on Canadian and Mexican imports, as long as they comply with existing free trade rules. The announcement came just a day after President Donald Trump imposed a blanket 25% tariffs on all products entering the United States from the two nations. The reprieve came after the president spoke with top officials at General Motors, Ford Motor and Stellantis, bringing relief to an industry reliant on a cross-border supply chain that is vulnerable to multiple tariffs. But prospects of wider relief were dampened after Trump's call with Canadian President Justin Trudeau, as the US leader remained unconvinced that Canada had done enough to address Washington's concerns over fentanyl smuggling. Trump's 25% tariffs on Canadian and Mexican imports took effect Tuesday, rattling global markets and straining ties. Ottawa responded with retaliatory levies, while Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum plans to announce her response at a rally on Sunday. Cyclone Alfred has slowed down considerably as it moves towards Australia's coast, and it now looks like the storm will make landfall later than originally predicted. The Bureau of Meteorology's latest modelling suggests that Alfred could make landfall early on Saturday morning, more than 24 hours later than first anticipated.
The system, currently classified as a Category 2 cyclone, is expected to remain at a similar intensity as it nears the coast. However, the Bureau of Meteorology has warned that it may weaken to a Category 1 cyclone as it passes over Moreton Island before crossing the mainland between Nusa Heads and Coolangatta on the Gold Coast. Emergency warnings have been issued with evacuations in Lismore CBD and Kyogo due to flooding risk. Schools, public transport and airports are closed and elective surgeries have been postponed. Queensland Premier David Crucifulli has warned that the window for residents to prepare is closing rapidly, urging everyone to act quickly, while New South Wales Premier Chris Minns urges caution in flood-prone areas.
Multinational logistic company DHL has announced plans to cut 8,000 jobs in Germany this year as part of a major cost-saving strategy aimed at saving over 1 billion euros by 2027. The job reductions will take place within DHL's Post and Parcel Germany division, but the company has assured that they will happen through attrition rather than compulsory redundancies.
CEO Tobias Mayer says the cuts are necessary to counter rising costs, including a new wage agreement with the Verdi Labour Union, which will see a 5% pay increase and additional holidays, a move expected to cost DHL 360 million euros by 2026. The announcement comes as DHL reports a 7.2% drop in annual operating profit, with the logistics sector facing softer demand and normalizing supply chains. Despite this, DHL exceeded earnings expectations in 2024, but its 2025 profit forecast falls short of analyst estimates. The company is maintaining its 1.85 euros per share dividend and expanding its share buyback program to 6 billion euros by 2026. For now, DHL is not considering separating its post and parcel business, despite ongoing challenges such as declining letter volumes and cost inflation.
Marriott Bonvoy hotels and resorts across Malaysia have launched the Malaysian Kitchen, a year-long culinary initiative celebrating the country's diverse food heritage. Marriott International Regional Vice President for Indonesia and Malaysia, Ramesh Jackson, says the campaign, which debuts during the Ramadan season, brings together chefs from Marriott properties to showcase authentic Malaysian dishes, preserving traditional cooking methods and flavors.
One of the things we want, one of the experiences we want to create for our guests is when they come to our hotels, we should have a representation of true Malaysian cuisine. So this is the start. We have picked 10 dishes, favorite dishes among Malaysians, and now we're rolling it out as Malaysian Kitchen. That food, that 10 food, same recipe will be available across all our 56 hotels across Malaysia.
The initiative spans multiple Marriott Bonvoy properties, with each hotel highlighting a signature dish deeply rooted in Malaysia's culinary traditions. He was speaking to Astro AWANI at the launch of the Malaysian Kitchen at the St. Regis, Kuala Lumpur on Wednesday. Diners can experience the Malaysian Kitchen at participating Marriott Bonvoy hotels and resorts across Malaysia throughout 2025. Astro AWANI also had the chance to speak to Ramesh about Marriott's growth in Malaysia.
Today we have 56 open properties in Malaysia, which includes conference centers, hotels, resorts and residences. So it's a huge market for us. Why is Malaysia so interesting? I think two-pronged, right? It's one of the few countries that has great tourist destinations. You've got great beaches, great mountains, we have our national forest, our city is amazing. Plus, it's good for business. So in KL, for example, in KL last year, we closed our occupancy at 77%, and which is great because on a weekday, you get a lot of business travelers coming in, and then on weekends, you have lots of families coming in. So it's kind of best of both worlds.
That wraps up AWANI tonight. Check out our web portal, keeping you informed on the critical events shaping our world, all in one place at international.astroawani.com. That's all for now. I'm Farhana Sheikh. Thank you for watching and good night.